Hello everybody and welcome to Beyond Umzindo with myself, Doloanothile. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back and thank you for subscribing to the channel. And if you're new, please subscribe and turn on your notification button so you know when new videos are up. So today I want to share with you guys a very exciting girls weekend away to Mozambique that we took in the last weekend of November in 2021. So that was quite exciting for me and I'm excited to share this experience with you. I'm always excited about traveling within Africa, and it's also always special to be with my friends because we live so far apart from each other. Lives are so busy. There's kids, there's work, there's so many things that happen in our personal lives that finding time to actually sit together and connect and strengthen the friendships, the sisterhoods, the bonds is just always so special to me. So I'm always excited to be embarking on any friend-related journey. So that was our weekend away. It was a 3-night trip and we visited 5-star Anantara resort in Bazaruto Island, Mozambique. So that is in Vilanculo. So without any further delays, let's get right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the planning for the trip. So this time around, especially this time of year, it gets quite busy and there's just lots going on, and especially this year there was a lot going on for all of us, so we couldn't personally put time aside to do the actual trip. And we reached out to Pen Travel. So a big shout out to Karina, who's situated in the Tiger Valley office in Cape Town. She is really a star. We've been reaching out to her since 2017 and she never disappoints. So a shout out to them. They always make things easy for us, and they did this time around as well. So we did it through an agent, and the total cost per person was just a little over 20,000 rands per person for the 3 nights, and the cost included flights. We flew A-Link from Johannesburg to Vilanculo straight. It's a direct flight, and it's 1.5 hours to get there. And it also included transfers, airport transfers. So we had somebody from Thompson Tours collect us from the airport, and they took us to a place where we would get our boat, and then the boat ride itself to the island. And obviously coming back, it was also the same trip. And it was an all-inclusive package. So at the resort, all meals were included and all drinks were included. There's exceptions if you're an alcohol drinker, not even when it comes to alcohol, but there's exceptions to certain types of meals that you would have to pay additional costs for, or certain types of alcohols that you drink that you would need to pay more for. But otherwise most things are included, and I actually was not even unhappy about the stuff that was actually included. It really made sense. I didn't feel like I was getting ripped off with what I was getting. I didn't feel like I needed to pay extra to get more or better things within. What was included was actually quite sufficient, more than sufficient to say the least. So I'm really happy about this trip, and was really pleased with Pen Travel for this one. Then as a South African, point number 2, we do not require visas to visit Mozambique. So you fill out that form on arrival that you generally fill out in every country, and your passport gets stamped, and there's no additional visa requirements that you need to have. Because it's now COVID times, that's point number 3, and you are needing to leave the country during the times of COVID, you do need a PCR test. And as per all the other regulations or requirements with different airlines and countries, it must be valid for a certain amount of time. So we took ours, we left the country on a Friday, and we did ours 48 hours before or 2 days before, which was on a Wednesday. And you can basically go to any other or any lab in South Africa that does travel a PCR test, and you do it there, and they say, I generally use Empath, so maybe I can speak for Empath, and you get it on the app. And now the price has actually gone down as well. It used to be 850 to do the COVID test, but lately I've noticed it's 710 rand, so the price has gone down slightly, which is great. So yeah, you do need the COVID test, which you must print as per usual when you print your documents, because you will get asked for it everywhere. Then the other thing is, in terms of financial planning, we paid for everything up front, like I said, so we didn't need to actually have a huge budget for when we actually get to the country. And on the island, we did spend separately on the trips, but it wasn't that much. They do charge in dollars. And I also remember that they accept rands, so you can pay your cash in rands and they will accept that. But the other thing that I wanted to mention about the actual money and finances is that it's only things like say your excursions, if you're wanting to do additional things like snorkeling or get out of the island, that you would need to pay for. Otherwise, most things are covered by the cost that you pay for the resort. And I was very pleased with that financial planning aspect of the trip. We didn't need any additional vaccines, so when we left, I did inquire with the travel clinics, and Mozambique itself doesn't require anything additional. But I must admit that there was a lot of mosquitoes there, and like I came back about a day later, my whole body was itching and I needed to consult a doctor. And maybe in hindsight, I should have considered that, because there was a lot of mosquitoes. But other than that, you do not need any additional vaccinations for visiting Mozambique. Then again, like I mentioned before, so when you're planning through an agent, the planning or the package has a certain start destination for everybody if you're planning it as a group, and a certain stop destination. So my friends live in Joburg and I live in Cape Town, so an additional cost perhaps to the trip was that I had to consider was that I need to travel a day in advance, because our trip was very early the following day. So I had to plan for a separate flight or build that into the cost or the financial planning for the trip. So separate flights for myself, accommodation for the night before, so that I could get there on time. So if you are somebody that is also traveling as a group, or your flight for the next day or the day of travel is actually very early in the morning, then you need to think about that as well and build that up into your planning. Then my first impression of Mozambique. So we get there, and it's actually a beautiful country. I was very impressed with how clean it was. It's calm, and maybe I'm wrong by saying Mozambique, but maybe I should say Vilanculos, specifically where we were. It was lovely. It's a beautiful country. It's calm. It was just a breath of fresh air, and I thoroughly enjoyed the experience. Just landing off or just landing and getting off your flight, you actually feel like you in a holiday destination. You can already see the beach, and it's absolutely stunning. And the airport was very clean, the staff was efficient. The one thing that I noted though that I must mention is that there's not a lot of English, perhaps not in the staff that was helping us, but in general in the island, when you were speaking to perhaps drivers or people at the restaurants, they don't speak a lot of English. So there was a bit of a hiccup, but it's actually not too bad. There was always somebody somewhere to kind of help translate if the need was there. So that I thoroughly enjoyed. And communication was not an issue. And I thought all Mozambicans, actually, my ignorance, speak Portuguese. Not that I speak Portuguese, but I thought they did. But there is other languages, local languages that they speak, which was not even Portuguese. So I did not know that before I got there. And then in terms of the transfers, so we had to wait at the airport lounge. And it's actually an Anantara lounge that we had to wait in. It was nicely air conditioned. We had to wait for other people to also get there, landing from different parts of the world also, so that we could take one boat out. So we didn't have to wait for long. The flights kind of landed one after the other, and then we were taken in a group into a taxi, like 4x4 style, real African. So South African 4-4 style that we traveled in a taxi. And it was literally maybe a 15-20 minute drive to another Anantara beach resort where we actually boarded the boat or the ferry. The one thing that I think was worth noting, which I'm told we were told about it, but I guess none of us were listening, that we needed to wear shorts. So if you are traveling particularly to this particular resort, or you know that you're going to be taking a ferry, you need to have a pair of shorts on you. We were all wearing leggings because it's just comfortable wearing leggings when you're flying. So when we got there, we got the shock of our lives. Now we're there and we need to get onto the boat, and it's bags in the air, and we are halfway, like up to our belly buttons into the water, trying to get onto the boat. It was fun, but I think in hindsight we could have, even swimsuit or like something that you can swim in would have been more ideal for the trip. But other than that, it was easy, it was hassle free, and even that was fun, that whole getting into the water without meaning to get into the water. The other thing, it took about 45 minutes, but 40 minutes maybe, 40 minutes to get from now the shore onto the island. It was really uneventful, and and then we got there and we were welcomed. It was beautiful. Really, I'm thoroughly impressed with Anantara. The welcome was warm. We got our welcome drinks, and it was just people singing. It was just festive, and it was just holiday vibes all around. I was thoroughly impressed. And even you get sold a 5-star experience, but in other places, yes, you get sold a 5-star experience, but when you get there, it's not quite 5-star. So I was not disappointed, not at all, in terms of the facilities and the staff. The staff was absolutely amazing. The resort was full, but you felt like you were the only person there, because as soon as you land, you get welcomed, you get your drinks, and then when all your luggage arrives, you get checked into your room, and you have this person that's dedicated to you when you arrive, or to your group when you arrive. It was just the 3 of us, and you get onto the golf cart and they take you to your room, they show you around, and as soon as you get there, they check you in there. And as they check you in, they open up a WhatsApp group, and there's this person who's a staff member. Ours was Marcos. Kudos to Marcos, and I've never met anyone like him in all my time of having experienced travel. He just, back in the day in South Africa, there used to be a budget advert, budget insurance. Was it budget or outsurance? I think it was outsurance, where the one guy used to say, we bend over backwards. He truly lived that motto of bending over backwards for us. Literally, Marcos checked us in. He opened up the WhatsApp group, and within minutes, he was like, lunch is ready at such and such a place. Let me know when to come and fetch you. And on the WhatsApp, obviously we changed, we were wait. By the way, when you arrive, they offer you the option of doing your laundry for free, because I think they do know that a lot of people don't know that they're going to get wet. So you do get the option of actually accepting that service, and they do your laundry for free of all the clothes that you were wearing when you got wet. So in any case, back to the Marcos story. Marcos, so then you will say on the group that yes, we've changed, we're ready. Within 2 minutes, Marcos is there with the cart to take you to where you need to go to have lunch. And I usually travel with my small speaker, and that day I didn't have my speaker, and we wanted to play a little bit of music. You send a message, Marcos, we need a speaker. Marcos asked no questions, he delivered, and we got such good service. I was so impressed, because it was something that I'd never experienced before, especially in a resort that's full and also full of kids. And also, it's not an experience that you get a lot of in Africa. So I was thoroughly impressed, and I've never gotten that experience anywhere else. So a really thumbs up to Anantara. I was really happy with that. And even on that same day when we arrived, because we were there for the weekend, and obviously we need the COVID PCR test to come back, as soon as we arrived, Marcos was there saying, your PCR test is at 7 o'clock in the morning at such and such a place. I will be there to pick you up at such and such a time. And he was there, so we didn't have to do any additional planning. Once we got there, they had it. So that was the experience of arriving. So bye.